Eight. You ready? 6 and 8. There we go. Show number 68. And today's show is coming to you live from the Four Corners Project.org studio here in Beit Shemesh, Israel. It is great to be here. And we have with us one of the legends of Shlock Rock, if I may be so bold. One of the original Jewish rappers from the group 613. It's Dr. D. Dr. D. Dave Winter is with us. Dr. D, welcome to the show.
Yo, Len, it's such a pleasure to be here. I am so thrilled. I mean, just talking to you for a few minutes before the show, I am just psyched for this half hour. I'm looking forward to talking about all kinds of different stuff. And it's great to see you. It's great to see you in a Mets hat. And,
That's right.
Great to be here.
Usually, of course, we're all hockey here, but we do have the baseball caps, baseball hockey. But this time we did baseball football because I know that your two favorite teams are the Mets and the Jets. Of course, the Jets have seen.
Jets. I grew up a Jet fan when I was a little kid, and they played at Shea. But I'm a Giants fan, man. So.
Oh, you are? So
I
should have worn my Eli Manning jersey.
I was going to wear my Eli Manning, but it's been like a week since they ended the season, so they don't.
I know that was some ending to that season. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so first thing is, it's great to have you here, and the doctor was involved with Shlock Rock from the very inception, from the very beginning, where we. First thing is, Dr. D was the road manager, rapper, and DJ on that first summer tour in 1988, where we did 20 camps in, I don't know what it was, 20 camps in like 30.
3 days, 4 days, something like that?
Yeah, we just.
Oh, Mr. Cousinets!
Have van, we'll travel. But Dr. D, you invented things that we ended up using, or, the creativity coming out of Dr. D, ladies and gentlemen, was just unbelievable. Let's go back to when we first met. 1981. It was September 1981. I was 20 years old. I received a phone call from Avi Feinberg, who was the drummer for the Shemesh Orchestra.
The Shemesh Orchestra!
He said, Lenny, how'd you like to do an NCSY Shabbaton? I said, what's NCSY? I actually had no idea because I grew up in Kew Gardens, Queens. We had our own youth center. We did not have NCSY. We did not have any Jewish youth groups. We just had our own youth center with our own internal youth groups. I said, okay, I figured I'll go. And there, you were there. Do you remember that, Dr. D?
Don't remember. I don't know. Do I remember? Where was it?
It was somewhere in the Bronx. I think at Pelham Parkway.
So I remember those Shabbatons. I remember those events, and I do remember Shemesh Orchestra. I do remember you. I obviously remember Avi. Yeah, those were great energy times.
Yeah, it was real. It was where I learned. Everybody who always asks, how do you get into the business? The way to get into the business is not know what you're doing, and then you just have to figure it out.
Just play.
And we did, and we were known as the Name That Tune Orchestra because nobody knew what we were playing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Shemesh Orchestra, and it's very, very funny that I live in Beit Shemesh, House of the Sun. Yeah. Shemesh, of course, means sun. And but I was with that band for around 2 years, and then I went on to Kesher, which was this Hasidic Jewish rock group. Where we put out albums. But then the next time our paths crossed, why don't you tell everybody what you were doing in 81, and let's bring us to 87 when we reconnect.
So 81, 82, I was a junior in high school at MHS, OTI in Queens. Living it up with my buddies JJ and Richie, and we had just the school had just moved to Queens. After my junior year, it was a thing in those days that you didn't return for your senior year. So many of my friends went to Queens College, early admissions. I went to Israel. I spent a year on a Moshav, then did Shana Bet at Or David in Yerushalayim. I spent some time in Yeshiva and some time in Yerushalayim. Then I came back and, I was just fresh back from Israel, and Brian Thaw said, "You got to get into NCSY, as an advisor." And I started, going to Shabbatons.
Right.
I became a, uh, a chapter advisor. I worked with Avi Feinberg in Bay Terrace.
Wow. Right, because everybody, you're from Bayside, Queens,
Right,
correct?
right, right. And so I was in Bay Terrace. Great chapter. The Yachad chapter was awesome. Um, I'm in touch with some people from there still on Facebook and stuff. So it's awesome. Did that for a couple of years, and then I started getting into Gypsy, Jewish public
Right.
private school youth.
Jewish public school youth, one of the greatest
Yep.
outreach organizations that I ever was a part of.
The real deal. I mean, this was grassroots. I mean, this was take a Sefer Torah, walk into a lunchroom of a public school, and the kids will just come over. The Jewish kids, what the heck are you doing here? What are you, nuts? And that's how we would start a chapter. I was active director of the private schools, so we were at Dalton and Essex and Horace Mann and Fieldston
Right.
and those were great times. At that time, I was also doing national NCSY. So JJ and I would be we'd fly to a town on Thursday night, meet with the leaders of the community, run a program for the adults. Friday, we'd go to the local day schools. We'd run a Shabbaton. Sunday, we would try to catch a baseball, basketball, or football game in one of those towns, fly back to New York, run Gypsy all week, drop our stuff up at the dry cleaners,
Yes.
and then Thursday, pick our stuff at the dry cleaners and fly to another town. So we were Gypsy and NCSY.
So let me just say that
time.
for those that don't really know about the beginning of Schlock Rock, there were 10 people that were, I call them the band, the original band. And that was, of course, Gary Wallen on drums and
Yes.
Mark Skyer on bass, Danny Block on sax, Mark Infield on percussion, Yona Lloyd on guitar, myself, that was 6. Then there were the 3 peripheral members who, Dr. D and J.J. Greenberg, alav shalom, may he rest in peace. J.J. Greenberg and Dr. D were the rappers. They would come up on stage and they would rap, Wash This Way. And they would rap, Bless On It. And they would rap, Jewish Pride Keeps You Going Strong, right?
Oh yeah.
And then of course there was the Kraz, who we've had on, and the Kraz was the behind the scenes guy who would write shtick, who would write
genius,
right. He would write creative stuff, and then of course Brian.
Who would forget Drek and Roll?
That's right, and Brian Thaw would probably be the number 10 guy, right? Because he was the.
He'd be happy that you said that.
Yes, and it's true, and the funny thing is that. What was it? It wasn't just music. It wasn't just informal Jewish music education. It was the creativity of the media using whatever was hot in and making skits. We were like Saturday Night Live. We were like the not ready for primetime players. And
we certainly were not ready for primetime.
That's right. And with Gypsy, we got a chance to do stuff. And I remember telling all of you guys, I said, if only we could have this full-time organization that did informal Jewish education through music and media, which is, of course, I developed that from 2015. It became a not-for-profit organization, but really, we've been doing it since since 82, since 81,
Right.
And you were an integral part of that. Let's go. It's an unbelievable thing because, when you do these shows, all of a sudden it's 30 minutes. We've already done 10 minutes. Can you believe that? Now, I must say one thing. Since we're talking about informal Jewish education, I want to tell everybody, I got to do some paperwork, Dr. D.
Okay.
For people that are watching from YouTube, so either on Schlock Rock channel or on the Four Corners channel, hit like and subscribe. That's the first thing. I watch all these shows. They always say hit like and subscribe, and leave a comment, right? If you're watching on Facebook, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, right? And of course, for all of you out there, place a small donation for the year. Go to fourcornersproject.org, place a small donation, bada bing, bada boom, and we are funded for the year. 4,000 fans do it, $36, we're funded. Sounds easy, Dr. D?
Simple.
Simple as butterflake cake.
Oh,
Got to
I work
plug
at
in for butterflake.
I work at Butterflake now.
I do.
And,
That's why
and
I said it.
every day I walk through those doors and I'm like, kosher cake, kosher cake.
Right. So
That,
that is the last thing that you have done with us so
yep,
far, which is the kosher cake music video.
right.
Go on YouTube. It's got over 60,000 views. Last I checked, and we shot it in the Butterflake Bakery in Teaneck, New Jersey, run by Richie Heisler. You know, and oh, see, somebody's commenting, "Make it butter rum, please." I'm sure you have butter rum somewhere in that bakery. But imagine setting us loose in a bakery. It's not the greatest thing for me. I'm telling you.
Well, it was definitely an easier video than Yo-Yo Yamaka. Do you
I
remember
wanted to.
all night
Yes,
long?
I wanted to talk about Yo-Yo Yamaka and the making of the video. But first, let's go back to tradition. Now, what happened is that rap was starting to become bigger and bigger. Right? It started out. You remember Nucleus with Bless On It or whatever. And Eddie Murphy did Boogie in Your Butt, and all of a sudden you had all these rap songs breaking out, and the question was, what was going to happen? Was it going to be a fad, or was it going to last? And of course, it's lasted. You know, rap music has lasted, and so we had to do rap songs. And in 1987, you went to the studio with me, J.J. Greenberg, Ian Brew,
Big E.
The Big E, and we did the song tradition,
But
tradition,
Lenny,
with
Lenny,
things had just begun.
you did rap and Jewish, which was, I mean, epic.
Right, laddie do, I'm a
countless,
Jew, and I think it's cool.
countless Shabbatons. I was, JJ and I were a great team. He would be on the periphery, dealing, talking to people one on one, and I'd be the idiot in the middle of the circle on the table.
Right.
Part of my intrusion on your personal day, and then I get up and I do rap and Jewish, and it was amazing. I mean, for 6-7 years, that was amazing until other stuff started coming out. But I used that countless times. But
And
then we did tradition.
But tradition, we never even played. We never released it. That song never got released.
Oh, really?
But yes, but until J Rap City in 2005,
right.
it's one of the bonus tracks on J Rap City. For those of you that don't know, there are 39 Schlock Rock albums, and there's a rap compilation which have 5 bonus tracks on it, and one of them is Tradition, recorded in 1987. And I started exploring rap music and writing original rap music, not just doing parodies. Because parodies, we had Wash This Way, we had Bless On It, Boogie in the Shul, and so, but I started writing my own music, my own rap songs, and we got to Yo 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 Yamaka. Now, Yo 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 Yamaka, which you were on, and then also we filmed the video, and I lived in an apartment 2D. Oh, I pity that lady who lived in 1D. We recorded that video all night. In order to make that video, we recorded it all night from like midnight to 6 a.m. And the next day, I saw the neighbor, and she said, I don't know what happened, but I couldn't sleep. It sounded like there was a party going on all night. And I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I don't think she knew I was the one who was upstairs in
Whatever.
apartment 2D. But we did the video, Yo 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 Yamaka. Yes, it's on YouTube. Somebody's asking, where can you see it? Just type in Yo 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 Yamaka.
And also,
And you will
Yo-Yo Yamaka was such a big hit that it is on, what is it? Trivial Pursuit.
Yes, there's a
Has
question about Schlock Rock in Trivial Pursuit because of the song Yo 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 Yamaka. So you just got to go to YouTube, type in Yo 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 Yamaka, spelled Yarmulke. I don't think there's an H at the end, but that should come up, and you'll see the whole video.
Means a God will fear.
That there's someone above and to his rules we'd hear. Walking down the street, it should certainly appear we are dressed in the proper headgear. Yeah. There doesn't seem to be a delay right now. It's very interesting. When I always thought that when you sang, there's a 2-second delay, but there doesn't seem to be.
That's usually, because I'm slow.
No, no. Okay, Dr. D. Now I'm gonna throw something at you out of the blue. So here we are. We're on this summer tour. First thing
Oh,
is, tell me just off the top of your head, what was the greatest venue summer camp that you played that you enjoyed playing, and then I'll tell you what mine was.
I
If you could,
think I think if I remember, Camp Monroe was
yes,
was like
fantastic.
was fantastic. Sedgwin, maybe.
Sedgwick, oh,
Sedgwin?
Sedgwick was a classic show. That was a 75-year-old camp that we played. They closed
Right.
down 2 years later,
Oh, really?
Federation. But I will tell you, my favorite was the Eddie Cantor Theater at Surprise Lake.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I do remember that.
That was unbelievable. What a place! What
Eddie
a
Cantor
place!
Theater.
Yes, and now what happened was Dr. D not only was the roadie or the road manager, where he made sure the technical stuff was good, but you also were like the MC. You were the rapper, and you also um, were the DJ. We had this. We had
Are
this
you in
top
the top 40 of the Lordy, Lordy, Lordy?
and you made that up. The top 40 of the Lordy, Lordy,
No,
Lordy.
I didn't make that up. That's probably like an Alan Sherman type thing. It definitely my brother said that way before I did, but I definitely used it.
I didn't know that. For me, you
Uh,
made that up. I thought that was
okay.
all you.
All
I
right.
said, "My
I made
God,
it up. I
that's
made it up. I made it up.
that's so creative." I said, how did you come up with that?" And it kept the kids so interested. So that we you would do we Casey Kasem. We were top
Right.
40, number 3, number 2, number 1. Count them
Right.
down, and the kids would go berserk. The kids loved it.
Yeah.
The summer
And
kids loved it. But
that summer, what was my sign off?
I don't
Be
remember
good, be cool, be Jewish.
that you penned.
Right.
Be good, be cool, be Jewish. And I made a song out of that
Right.
based on that saying.
Right.
And I even sign off today. Sometimes I always say be good, be cool, be Jewish. Not necessarily at these shows, but we have to maybe start doing that. All right, let's talk about something that I know you don't expect me to ask you about, which is Dr. D in Russia.
Yes.
You went to Russia with J.J. Greenberg.
So it was at the tail end of JJ's stint in Russia, and I only got to spend like a couple of days with him in actually in Tallinn. And he and I traveled to Russia together, and then he went back to Tallinn and eventually went home. Yeah, I mean, what was amazing about the kids in Russia is, first of all, they were sponges, and we were able to just give them whatever we could in the weeks that we were there. And I remember, and I actually said this to Michael Jackson when I met him once, and I said to him, I was in Russia and I was teaching kids, and I didn't know Russian and they didn't know English, but we all knew your lyrics. And that was a major connection for us, was music, because kids know music and I know music, and that's how we really connected with the kids. And of course, we used tons of schlock rock while we were there. We taught them rap in Jewish, we taught them all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I mean, JJ was in Russia for months, and I was only there for 3 or 4 weeks, and it was just such a unbelievable experience. I mean, JJ and I both kicked ourselves for years why we didn't buy real estate. You could buy an apartment for 10 grand. I mean,
Really?
we ran a camp for 100 kids, and we rented buses, and we had food and everything for like $400. It was unbelievable. I mean, we bought the kids soda. We went to the black market the first day, and we said, "We're Americans. This is what we need." The next day, there were like 100 guys waiting for us, and we
Wow.
couldn't just go to the store and buy 100 bottles of Pepsi. It took them a couple of days to gather it, and we gave it to these kids, and like they didn't want to open it. They wanted to save it and bring it home. It was such a crazy time. But yeah, Russia was just an incredible time in my life.
That is, that's an, I didn't, this is something I know you didn't expect me to ask you about,
No, no,
which is your Russia experience. And you did it with JJ. JJ was your best friend and also partner in crime with the rap
right.
stuff and with
Yep.
the informal the people out there. You guys have to understand this was amazing stuff. That informal Jewish education,
Right.
informal Jewish education is what bonds you to your religion, what bonds you to Judaism. It's one thing to be in a classroom, but in a classroom you got tests. When you're in informal, when you're getting stuff with, you're learning without knowing you're learning.
It's taking whatever you have, whatever around, and making it holy, and making it teachable. I'll give you one little example about Russia, which was just insane. We rented a hotel. We took over the whole hotel. It didn't have a kitchen, so we walked into town with a Russian guide. We went to the closest restaurant and we said, "How many meals do you serve a week here?" And he said 20, 30. I said, "Okay, we're going to buy every meal for the next week. We're taking over your restaurant." So Chabad came in, they kashered, and we started going to the black market to get eggs and some fruit and some vegetables. And we had our meals there. And every day, 3 times a day, we trudged from the hotel to this restaurant. And there was like a foot of snow out. And every day we walked through this park and there was a monument. We didn't think what it was, just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The last day of the camp, I was with the two advisors and we said, let's see what this monument is. We brush away the snow. It was a Holocaust memorial in
Wow.
Pushkin, outside of Leningrad, St. Petersburg in Russia, out of nowhere. It's like someone just threw this at us. Here you go. And we did a midnight vigil with candles going right to this monument. I mean, like it was put there for us. Really
Right?
incredible.
And it
Yeah.
was. It
Yeah.
was put there for you. That's unbelievable. Okay, so before we get to your rest of your appearances in Shlock Rock, which of course goes back to United Jews and My Menorah, where you were on the shtick of My Menorah, well, I want to talk to you about the Kumsitz.
Oh, the
You remember the
Yeah.
Kumsitz?
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. D became a DJ. You moved to Cleveland, or were you
Detroit.
you were living
Detroit.
in Detroit, and you had your own Jewish radio show
Correct.
called The Kumsitz.
The Kumsitz. Yes. It was a late night show that I did with most with Jewish music, and I was working for NCSY at the time in Central East NCSY with Mark Cohen, Rabbi Mark Cohen, and
Yes.
he was also a very smart guy, and he saw this opportunity to do the radio show, and it was really quite incredible. And what's great is there are kids who couldn't get it on their regular radio. They'd get in their cars and drive around just to listen to the radio show. I had some great guests on that show, including Shlomo Karlbach and Lenny
Really?
Solomon.
I was a
actually have
guest.
a tape.
Yes, I
I have
remember
a
being
tape
a guest
for
on
it.
that show, but I didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
you had Shlomo Kalbach too.
Shlomo Karlbach was in Detroit for, I believe, the Young Israel Southfield dinner, one of those Young Israel dinners. And I said to him, I said, "Listen, Rav Shlomo, do you remember me from the West Side?" "Yes, sure." The Holy Rapper, yeah. So I said, "Well, can we do something after the dinner?" He said, "Sure." So he came to my apartment, and I had about 10 guys, and we were singing, and he was giving Divrei Torah. I have a tape of it somewhere. I have to find it. Within half an hour, there were 60 people in my apartment, and it was an incredible night. And he gave me this bracha, which I to this day is just incredible. He talked about the Romans, and then there was a fire in the camp, and they came to this little Jew, and they told the Jew to put out the fire, and the Jew couldn't put out the fire. And in the end, he says, it should be God's will that we should be God's firemen, not to put out the fire, but to start the fire.
Ah, we didn't
And
start
like,
the fire.
and like, I was like, that is awesome. God's firemen. Don't put out the fire, start the fire. It's like, that is awesome.
That is it's such a holy thing to say, actually.
Yeah.
You know, he was such a brilliant man in that I heard a story from him. I'll just tell you one quick story where he would speak to people, and then at the end of the conversation, they would exchange blessings. And so the person said to him, "What blessing would you like me to give you?" And he said, "I want you to bless me that I can write, that God allows me to write songs that people want to sing." It wasn't just I let
Mm,
God allow me to write songs. That
right.
wouldn't that wasn't
Wow.
enough. He had to have he wanted a blessing that God would allow him to write songs that people wanted to sing. And so it was, because if you take a look at the music that we sing today, 90% of it is Kalbach tunes. As you're
Yeah,
walking,
yeah.
if you're at a simcha, if you're at a bar mitzvah, if you're at a wedding, you odds are it's a Kalbach tune.
Before we run out of time, I have to bring up one night that to me was just a very special night, and not so much that it meant so much to me, but we did a concert. I don't know if it was BBYO or Nifty or Lifty or I don't know. It was one of these organizations. And I remember, listen, I was involved in Schlock Rock. I go to a lot of Shabbatones, and I'm involved in the band and everything. And I figured, it's a bunch of Jewish guys. We play okay. You guys played okay. But I'll never forget that night where to watch Danny Block and Gaz and Yona Lloyd wailing on the guitar. I remember him playing the Sultans of Swing, and I was blown away. I was like, these guys are real. These guys are awesome. They don't just play the Jewish stuff. They're awesome. And to this day, I mean, I love those guys. I mean, Gary, our paths cross every so often, and it's always really special. Yona Lloyd, I bumped into an airport like 5 years ago. I haven't seen him much. Facebook is really cool because you get to see, what people are doing. Mark Skyer's a grandpa, I mean, it's and Mark Infield. I bump into a Teaneck every so often, and it was a very special thing that we're involved in, and it's unbelievable. My kids come to me and say, "Yo, my teacher played kosher cake today. My teacher
Really?
played yarmulke." Like this is like 8th, 9th grade, even 10th grade. They're like playing this stuff still, and
it is timeless. I think it's timeless, and we're gonna keep putting out more. We're gonna have this year. I hope, if everything goes well, we're gonna put out a classic Schlock Rock album, music of the '70s and '80s, the stuff that I missed, Footloose, Come On Eileen, stuff that Wake Me Up Before You Go, right? We gotta go back to those '70s and '80s, the '80s, and do songs, schlock songs that we missed. We missed
right.
the first
Lots
time
of songs that
around.
we missed, right?
So, and they're very big now, by the way. They're very big. Those
Yeah.
songs are all big now. I don't know why. I'm not really sure why.
The
But
'80s were great. The '80s were amazing.
so let me just talk about the last couple of appearances. The first thing is people don't know this. On the Greatest Hits Volume 1, the 18th track is called The Four Questionables. And you play this agent where you say, Lenny, I need the perfect song. I got a client. We need the perfect Passover song. And then we go through these things and it is the funniest skit, right? Somebody wrote, I played the Kosher Police tape till it wore out. So, the thing is that the four questionables where you were the agent was a fantastic skit. And then the last appearances, believe it or not, I think this was the last appearance on a Schlock Rock album with you and JJ Greenberg together, was Schlock Rock Meets the Prophets, Western Wall, where you introduce us to the camera, the Bendar 15342 right? Where he tells you have to go to the Western Wall and pray. And he goes, pray? I'll just stay here and watch, I'll just stay here and watch. It's the most fabulous skit. And then you had another one on that same album with After Mincha, where you have a checklist for all the food that we eat for Seudah Shlishit, the third Shabbat meal. It was unbelievably great stuff. I just reminiscing. Well, that's a good song to do. Friday night, it was late. I was walking. Anyway, so
Little River Band.
So Dr. D, we have had great times together, and it's not over yet.
Nope.
Because we have to keep going.
We're on a mission for God.
Yes, we are. And why are we on mission? Because our goal is to help the Jewish people get closer to God through music and media. That's what we do here at the Four Quarters Project at Schlock Rock. And, we hope that God will let us continue to keep going because, right now I'm in the middle of my birthday celebration.
Right. Celebration.
It's a 5 day celebration. Why is it 5 days? Because my Hebrew birthday was Monday night,
Right.
the 21st day of Tevet, but my English birthday is Shabbat, January 9th, Saturday, January 9th. So we have a 5 day celebration. Don't you love that word, celebration?
Celebration, baby. Celebration time. Come on.
Whoa, do 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 do. So, um, is there anything that you would like to close with? Anything that you would like to say? Something that comes to you to tell the listeners?
Well, you mentioned that you've been doing this since, I guess, since '81. I mean, when did Jewish Pride come out?
Well, Jewish Pride came at 87.
And when did Learning is Good come out?
86. 86 was
86.
the first Schlock Rock album.
86.
Yeah, Schlock Rock
All
is
these
turning
years,
34 this year.
all
This
these
January.
albums, and I'll tell you that when Schlock Rock was in its infancy, people poo-pooed it, people made fun of it,
Yes, they did.
and then before you know it, all of a sudden there's variations, and then there's all these other albums. People, oh, it's okay, really, really. You are the first. You are the original. You are the master. You are the king of schlock, of much of Jewish music. I mean, when people talk about MBD and Avram Fried and all these other guys, you are definitely up there. You are an original, and you're prolific, and you just don't stop. And I'll tell you, probably the most important gig you ever played was my wedding, and really you put together an amazing band for that day. And also years later, when I was honored at the RJC, you put together a band, and yeah, we played. You gave me the mic, and I played Yis. You played Yismachu, and you let me sing. And that was pretty good. From
Oh,
Kabbalah.
yeah. And yes. And you know what my favorite experiences were? When we did our Super Bowl parties at Riverdale Jewish Center.
Right. That was awesome. That we were the first to do that halftime show before, everybody caught
Before
on.
everybody else, we used to
Yep.
do it, and some people would say, "Oh, pasnished.
Oh,
Why are
yeah.
you doing? Why are you doing a Super Bowl party?"
Right.
And
Oh, those were great Super Bowl parties at RJC. Yep.
they were
Yep.
with wings, and I remember that.
Uh,
But it's been and that's, by the way, and that's one of the greatest things, is that we push the envelope. You push the envelope. You don't just say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. You do it. You have
Right.
to do it.
right.
As long as it falls within the parameters of Jewish law. No, there was no clothing mishaps, as one of our writers just wrote in. Andra, you're very good, Andra. Andra keeps writing in great comments I'm able to use. But the point is that we're doing it in the name of Hashem, in the name of God, and we are also having fun. There's no reason why Judaism, it has to be a stoic religion. It is a fun, vibrant way of life, and that's what we show. And Dr. D, you have been an integral part of our growth and of our movement, of our Jewish pride, Jewish identity, Jewish awareness, Jewish continuity. And it's been a pleasure to have you on board. And we've already gone over the 30 minutes. We're at 33 minutes. So let me just close by saying this. If you're watching from Facebook, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment. If you're watching from YouTube, hit like and subscribe, leave a comment, and go to www.fourquartersproject.org and donate. Small donation for the year. Keep it going. Support the work of informal Jewish education through music and media. Jewish Pride keeps you going strong. And Dr. D, I'll let you sign off with "Be good."
Be good. Be cool. I'll be Jewish.
That's right. Okay, everybody. We'll see you next time on Lenny Solomon Live on Monday night. We'll be back.